Hello and welcome to the Hotel Marketing Show. In this podcast, we're going to talk about all things hotel marketing. We're going to talk about things that are happening in the industry, insights, things that all hotel marketers or anybody that has an interest in hotel marketing wants to know about. My name is Victoria, and we're the hosts of the Hotel Marketing Show. To kick off the podcast today, in this episode, we're going to be talking with Dylan, who manages the sales team at Revinate from EMEA, about the power of email marketing and how hoteliers can utilize it in 2023.
Hi Dylan.
Hey.
So nice to be here at your wonderful office today. So thank you for having us.
Thanks for coming.
Could you give us a little bit of an introduction to who you are, what you do in your free time, anything you want to share with us just before we get started?
Sure, we're getting personal real fast.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, so I'm Dylan. I manage the sales team here for Revinate in EMEA. I gotta be honest, I was not working in hotels before I started my job at Revinate, so don't hold it against you. I know, but I just gotta get that out there. But I've been with Revinate for 10 years now. I started selling in North America for Revinate, moved to Asia 2 years ago, and then recently moved to EMEA to manage the sales team here. So through the time that I spent selling to hotels, our different products, I've seen my fair share of like really good marketing. I've seen my fair share of like not so good, but through it, I picked up on some really incredible tips and tricks and strategies from these awesome customers. So I enjoy sharing them with new clients and sort of sharing them in opportunities like this too. So don't hold it against me, but I have learned quite a bit in the past 10 years.
We'll test your knowledge.
Yeah, not too hard, all right?
Awesome. And what was your highlight of 2022?
Well, my highlight of 2022 would be my move from Singapore to Amsterdam. So like I said, I was living in Singapore for the past 2.5 years, and then Revinate positioned opened up here to manage the sales team, and they thought I did a decent job in Asia and asked me to move over. So moving my whole family over, just sort of getting used to this new European lifestyle, pretty cool. Meeting a lot of new friends here, starting to run this team, our beautiful office here in Amsterdam.
It's really nice.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Few boat rides. It's been good. It's been good to me so far. But the move was definitely my highlight. It's the biggest change of the year for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Could you give us a brief introduction about today's big topic on email marketing for anyone listening? What is email marketing?
Yeah.
Just really broad to begin with.
Sure. I think whenever I sort of talk about this, especially like with my family, I tell them that I manage a team that sells an email marketing solution, and I delete emails every day from different companies all the time. But clearly companies continue to do email marketing because it works, and Revinate has thousands of customers using our product for that, and if it didn't work, they wouldn't keep using it. So email marketing is obviously a really effective channel. And so if you think about like when you go on Nike.com or Adidas.com or name it, you sign up for the newsletter, you get 10% off. You think they give you 10% off your order if they weren't making money through that channel, right? So it's a big deal. There's other channels that are really effective, obviously, like social media, SEM, anyway, you name it. And they're all good, but the cool thing about email marketing is it's usually a flat rate. So you just pay one price and you send as much as you want. And that allows marketers to be really creative and just keep trying different things. So you don't have to worry every time you send it, how much is it going to cost me? Is it going to work? Is it going to give me good ROI? Just try things and be creative. So I like email marketing for that reason. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it. You guys excited about email marketing too?
Well, I'm a marketer, so
Yeah.
maybe all the other marketers that are listening can probably relate to like what you said as well about the receiving a lot of emails and like getting rid of a lot of emails, but then also still understanding that there is power still in email marketing. I think it is still an incredibly effective channel.
Right. The irony of me like clicking delete on an email and then jumping on a call and pitching somebody email marketing is never lost on me.
Every time I click unsubscribe, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. As if there's like this imaginary marketer out there who's like looking at, oh my God, Victoria, you're my favorite on the list. Yeah.
Always open.
Yeah. I always think that too. Yeah.
Nice. And can you tell us a little bit more about like what is an email marketing strategy?
Yeah, so I've seen, like I said, 10 years, I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of different strategies. I've seen marketers who don't do any email, and I wouldn't necessarily say that's a great move. I've seen also those that just load up an entire database and just blast the whole database. That's okay, it works. Not the best strategy, but a real marketing strategy is like, I mean, simply taking the data you have on your guests, segmenting them into their different types, and then communicating with them in the best way that you can, and trying to like personalize the experience the same way you would on property. The funny thing is if somebody just uploads an entire database and just sent it out through like a basic email provider, they would make money. And that speaks to how good email marketing is. Because if you just blasted the whole database, you would literally still make money. But you're leaving a lot of money on the table by doing it that way, and you're not really tailoring the experience the way that most hoteliers want to for their guests when they're on property. So by taking the data, by tailoring the messaging, by using that data to tailor the message, you'll enhance the guest experience, you'll have higher conversion rates. It's just the right way to approach it. So.
Yeah, I think it's like this big topic of personalization, of course, as well, right? Because it can always go two ways. You can either send an email which is, I don't know, wrong first name with irrelevant topic to someone, or you can actually personalize it in such a way that someone reads that email and you capture them right there and then.
Totally. The one example I always use is if somebody's like just starting to do this with their database, the one example I always use that I think everybody can relate to is like, okay, I'm here in Amsterdam. I want to do a staycation because I have some empty rooms this weekend. Mm-hmm. Probably not a good idea to send it to the guy in California who can't be here in 3 days.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that clearly shows you don't really know who that guest is. Your marketing's not that great. And then worst part is Victoria unsubscribes and then you're crying. You have that whole thing go down. Yeah. But it's real. I mean, and even some really basic levels of segmentation. It doesn't mean you have to be the world's most granular segmenter to be effective. It can be really simple stuff like location and families or, you know, stuff like that.
That's really cool. Now, this isn't a question that we've prepared, so I am going to put you on the spot there.
Sure.
But so I think people understand like the importance of personalization, but like, why do you think a lot of people don't segment? Is it that they don't know how, or they don't have the data, or they don't have the ideas?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that there's still a good portion of people just don't realize that, or they're sending out to their whole database and they're getting results, but they don't realize there's like another level that it could be taking it to and getting higher conversion on it. So that's actually I think that's probably the biggest one, is that they just say, well, I'm sending it out through like sort of a basic provider like MailChimp or Constant Contact. No offense if you're listening, Constant Contact. MailChimp. Yeah, you guys are cool. You guys are great. But if they're just sending it out that way and they're getting results, then they're getting results, but they don't realize that there's another level of conversion that they could be experiencing, and also another level of personalization that they'd be giving their guests should they segment a bit better.
So talking about strategy and also the staycation example that you mentioned, because staycation examples are my favorite examples. I love to use staycation
Love
examples.
A good staycation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you're a hotelier listening to this and you're like, okay, I have my strategy for 2023.
Yeah.
How can I incorporate that strategy, let's say the email marketing strategy, with my actual strategy for the entire year of 2023?
Well, some of the things I think about, first of all, is like, they keep teasing us at Google when they're going to take cookies away. It's like, you never know when they're going to take away our cookies. But I think one thing that all marketers should be thinking about, not just hoteliers, is collecting data. I don't know, I feel like noise right now because everybody's saying data all the time. But realistically, well, there's a reason why people are saying it, is because if the cookies go away, then how else are we going to stay in touch with guests or get people to come back? So collecting data so that you can have that personal digital relationship with these guests. And then, yeah, I guess I'm a bit biased because we do email marketing, but using that data for email marketing because it's such a cost-effective channel. So I would just take that data you have and just go after your database in a smart way and hopefully bring them back directly. The other thing I think about when I think about email too, a lot of studies show that guests do prefer to receive communications through email because it's less invasive. Like me personally, maybe I'll change later. And in Asia, I did see a lot of people like this, but I don't really want to receive text message-based promotions yet. I'm not ready for it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, maybe we'll change, probably will with the next generation, but not yet. And then also one thing to think about is like email is more searchable than like social media. Like on social media, looking at all my memes, having fun on there. Right. And then like a hotel ad pops up. I'm like, that's cool. But then I scroll by it because I'm not.
Memes.
Yeah, back to my memes. Yeah. But then that's gone.
Yeah.
Whereas in email is there, and then I might not buy it today, but hey, maybe a month later, oh, that ad from X hotel's there. Let's go back, and now I can go after that nice promotion that I saw.
Can so relate to like all you said, because first of all, even if someone sends me a verification code for text message, I'm like, why is this per text and not by email? Like it still feels intrusive.
Yeah.
And then per email, if I get an email, I remember. I think that's actually a really good point you brought up, because I think a lot of people underestimate the power of an email that is still in your inbox, even though it might not be powerful maybe necessarily right now, but it can be powerful in 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months.
Yeah.
Every year.
Yeah, because you might not, in the moment you get the ad, I might be doing work and get something. I'm not ready to make a booking, but okay, later, boom, archive that.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. I think also the thing about like owning your data, I think is such a great point as well. And it's something that I think, especially if you are building like a community or building like, I don't know, a channel like Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, like you don't actually own that data. And I think like we've seen it before when, like there's an outage of Facebook, or even now like with Twitter, like a lot of brands leaving Twitter, like that's a whole audience that you've built that you can't take with you when you leave. So I think also email marketing, like if you can build that database, like you have that database, that's your community, that's your data that you can tap into and use. You're not relying on this external like channel like Facebook or LinkedIn to grow it for you.
And if I even like separate, just so that people get the point and know that I'm not just trying to sell Revinate, like forget about Revinate, forget about CRM, forget about email for a minute. Do a good job of collecting the data in your PMS for now, and like start just realizing that in the future the cookies will go away and that you're going to need to have this database, and you don't know what you might want it for later, but like do it. Yeah. And yes, if you want to use it, Revinate CRM, awesome. but you need it for us or other things that will come up in the future. Yeah,
that's so true. I think we kind of covered on like a few things, but are there any other things that you think are important to consider in an email marketing strategy, like any kind of like tips or tricks that you want to share?
One of the things we're hearing about a lot, I think everybody in the industry is talking about, is like staff shortages everywhere. Yeah. It's real. I think one of the things people don't consider when they think about email marketing is, I guess, maybe it's the fault of us sellers, is we're always trying to attribute ROI to stuff because we want to be in the revenue generating category, but a lot of times it can help hotels operationally. So if you think about, there's like maybe a lot of FAQs hotels get from at the front desk, or maybe there's front desks having to upsell people on arrivals. This is taking real man hours from your staff. Yeah. So thinking about just maybe separating the ROI from the equation and thinking about how email can help with alleviating some stress on your staff. And again, having pre-arrival emails with more information about the property, or a welcome note with the same, or even automating the marketing post-stay so that the marketing team's not tasked every week. I got to come up with something new. Maybe just have some reoccurring things that are going on in the background.
Do you have an example for us of a campaign you've seen recently which you really enjoyed, or something that inspires our listeners?
Sure. Yeah, I got some ideas. Actually, one, like we've been talking about data capture and email capture. Like table stakes is just getting an email address from someone. If you think about it, a hotel spends, 15, 20% to get somebody to come in from an OTA, which is fine. It's a good place to acquire a guest, but like you better get the email address so that it doesn't happen again and again and again and again and again. So this hotel we have called the Dutch, based in the Netherlands. This hotel is doing something really unique at check-in. So what they do is they tell the guest, give us your email address, and we're going to put it in our system. And then once you're in your room, you're going to get an email from us, and you're going to get a password. You take that password to the bar, and you will get a free drink. And I guess maybe I shouldn't say the password, because then, I shouldn't give away the password, but
we're just beep it.
It's related to flamingos. It's pretty funny.
That is such a cool idea.
That's
brilliant.
It's cool. It's really cool. I guess maybe one more that I thought was interesting was there's a hotel group we work with in Australia called Below Hotels. It's a really pretty hotel group. So they do upsells with us. So prior arrival, they offer the things you'd expect, like a room upgrade or amenity upgrade, but they also have like a clean energy upgrade. So it's free, but you pick it and it's like help us save the environment, basically, help us reduce waste. And when you click it, it means that you only get your room cleaned ever so often during the stay. So it actually ends up reducing costs for them. It does help with environmental impact, and then the guest feels good, and it's a free upgrade for the guest. So it's a kind of a cool way that they've used our upsells.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's like a win-win-win-win.
Winning.
That's awesome. And okay, you kind of touched on it at the start, but I just want to ask you again.
Okay.
Is email marketing expensive?
I guess it depends on who you ask. I don't think it's expensive, and there's different ways you can do email marketing. Revinate's definitely not the cheapest form of it, where we do charge for what we offer. I would go as far to say that anybody who's started using our product, maybe there was an initial hurdle for them to get over buying it, but once they've started using it, I would say that they'll say it's not expensive. Because it's really about like the return they're getting ultimately, not about how much we cost, because they will make more than they're spending on our product. Can I do a shameless ROI plug?
Go for it.
You don't mind?
All
right, let's see if I can. All right, so we always look at our customers and how they've done with our product, especially the initial 90 days. So 60% of our customers see a 20x ROI within 90 days of using the product.
Wow. That is in 90 days. That's really impressive. And so if there is like somebody out there listening that's like, okay, I need to do email marketing. It's not something that has been a focus. How do you recommend that a hotel or a hotel marketer gets started with email marketing?
Yeah, I think, they need to get their data in order first. So we can help with that. I mean, we help people analyze their database, make sure they're collecting the right stuff. So that's important. But I think, like, aside from the product itself, and I think you guys can relate to this at Hotel Chimp, it's about working with vendors that are, there's a reason why there's so many vendors exist that are specific to hotels, because the hotel business is so damn unique.
Yeah. And
it has its own challenges. So aside from analyzing a vendor on like features, they should consider a CRM that's vertical to hospitality, where the vendor has experiences implementing, knows the business, can share experiences and strategies from other customers. I think that's like the number one thing somebody should consider especially if they're a first timer. I'm sure you can relate to it in your business too, right?
Yeah, like the success stories and just the kind of tips and tricks and everything you get along the way. It's just, you get insight which you otherwise wouldn't necessarily get.
I'm sure you guys learn stuff from your customers all the time, right?
Yeah, you share it back,
Yep.
So, yeah.
All the time we're like looking at the way customers use our products, like, oh, we didn't think of that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, actually. And
Yeah.
also email marketing, I don't know why this question popped up in my head, but like I'm talking about geographic regions.
Yep.
Do you also see basically then the trends in one market versus the other market, and you can share that back to your customers as well, saying like this worked well for the German market, but it didn't work so well for the Dutch market, so you have these insights as well.
Yeah, we do see that. One of the things we uncovered in Asia was that, like I said before, that a lot of hotels, you talk to them, and because in their daily life, like they're okay getting marketed to through messaging, text messaging, that they would say, oh, I don't want email because here people like to get a WhatsApp promotion, or they want like a promotion through like Line or like other messaging products. But actually we look at like Thailand and the type of guests that they would be getting, and to be guests from America, a lot of guests from America. So it's not really about like where you are, it's about who are you trying to get to come to your hotel. So that was one of the things we had to educate a lot in Asia, was like, stop thinking about like what you like locally. It's like, who are you trying to like bring in the door,
Yeah, I think that's such a great point. And I think that also comes back as well into like the segmentation as well, right? So like you can even break it down into like that per market, how you want to communicate with people as well.
Yeah. Okay. Now, again, I'm a hotel. Well, I'm definitely not a hotel, but anyone who's listening and is
You're not a hotel.
I'm not.
You're a human person.
I am a human person. I cannot. Surprise. Plot twist. No, so for any hotelier listening out there, let's say, again, staff shortages, and they're thinking, okay, my whole marketing campaign for 2023, and now comes email marketing. How can I incorporate these two? Are these some two different things, or how can I do this?
Yeah, right. I think maybe I mentioned this before, but like we have this customer called Noble Hotels and Resorts in North America, and they're one of our big clients there. And we learned this from a lady named Renee, who used to run the marketing there. And the way she was using our marketing product, our email, was like I mentioned before, email's flat rate. Other avenues are like social media, for example, are all like click and interaction based, and it's get really expensive. So what she would do is she'd actually pick like 3 different types of promotions and maybe 3 different types of messaging, and she would send them all through email. And then whatever one did the best, then she would take them over to expensive channels like social media. And I thought, like, this is a good example of us learning from a customer.
Yeah.
And so I think that is definitely one way that hotels could be using email in 2023. And then, like I said before, thinking about it beyond just marketing. If we're talking about staff shortages and ways to make sure guests are informed to kind of alleviate stress on your staff, that's a way to do it. And finally, just again, like, don't forget, just because you're deleting emails doesn't mean it's not effective. It has nothing to do with you and your preference for email. It works. So like rely on it. And if you're looking for ways to cut costs in 2023, acquisition costs from OTAs is a channel to do that on. Invest in a CRM and you will be able to cut down on those OTA costs, no doubt. Those would be my tips.
I think that's such a great point as well, because I'm sure that you've probably heard the same thing, but like we've started hearing a lot of hotels that we talk to talking about like the cost of like running the hotel and how that's getting like more and more expensive as well, like power and even like wages and things like that. So it sounds also like email marketing is a great like channel to like make the most of at a time when things are more expensive everywhere else.
Can I get on my soapbox for a minute?
Go for it.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
ready.
So like the one thing that just drives me crazy is that the way that budgets are set up for hotels or financial reporting is set up for hotels, where OTA costs, they sit in like the expense, like the operating expenses budget, and they just get to live over there and make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and like millions of dollars a year, and the owner's just like, that's cool. Yeah, that's great. They're bringing me guests, no problem. And then the marketer shows up with some good tech they want to buy, whether it's Hotel Champ, whether it's Revinate, all these. There's so many of us that are providing these great tools to help with direct bookings. But the owner looks at it and goes, oh, this is a marketing line item. No. In the meantime, the OTA is just sitting over here living the fat life, soaking up all the money.
Yeah.
So like, I think people need to trust their marketers a bit more and let them purchase. And this isn't everyone. Obviously, there's companies buying this, but trust technologies. People, we're not the bad guys on the tech side. We're trying to help. Let your marketer buy some good tech to help you bring down these costs on the other side. Yeah, it might not fit into the way you traditionally think about your budget, but ultimately, it's going to help the bottom line of the hotel. Whew.
I think
That was
great. That was worth getting on the soapbox. And I
Thanks.
think that's something that we see a lot as well, especially, I don't know about how you have seen it, but we see even things like the Genius discount and then being like preferred in listings
Mobile.
and mobile rates. So OTAs keep adding more and more things that are either adding more cost or taking
crazy.
away more of the share of revenue, and it's just become like almost like accepted that we have to.
It's
do
just
this.
like,
It's
right.
not even like questioning it.
And there's nothing wrong with OTAs. Like, they're helping us meet new guests. They're helping bring them in the door. But like, don't let it keep happening again and again and again. Like, once you get them in, get the email, get the information, then start sending them to your website. Help them convert on the website. Like, you can tell. But it's you can see really good examples of hotels and groups that do a really good job of it, and then there's some that just haven't come up the curve yet. But hey, that's opportunity for everyone, so it's good.
Yeah. I just think that it's so clever as well, like not just seeing, oh, that one time we got this guest come through from an OTA and we're never going to have any way of
Sure.
ever being able to contact them again, but actually putting on the thinking cap, like the example you gave with the Dutch, like how
Right.
can we actually get this over into like be our guest now, not an OTA guest basically. So
Yeah.
I think that's really clever.
Right. You've paid like what? I don't know, €100 something from I don't know, whatever your hotel costs, whatever your rate you're paying a lot of money to get them in the door. Like you deserve to try to win them over at that point. I didn't need to repeat that, but yeah, I guess you got me a little passionate there.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting one, and I really like how the example that you shared as well, and like going back a little bit further about like the testing things like on email marketing, like not seeing email marketing as like the afterthought of like, oh, we've already decided
Right.
on these campaigns, so we'll just push it out on this channel as well.
Yeah.
But actually, like, you're almost using that as like a starting point to filter out like to the rest of the channels as well.
100%. Yep. Yeah.
Very cool.
Thanks.
Okay.
Stole that from Noble House, but I'll take it. You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, then we come to my last and favorite question of the podcast episodes. The question is, what are your 3 takeaways for hoteliers listening to this episode?
So I got to drive it home, right?
Yes.
So I think there's 3 things that I'll just reiterate from what I had said throughout the conversation. But it's, number 1, don't let your bias for email affect your judgment of how effective email can be. Remember, Nike is not offering 10% off on these sign up form for nothing. If it wasn't working, they wouldn't be doing it. So email can be really effective. Just accept it. And then number 2, data. The cookies are going away. I know everybody's saying it, but it's real. And so whether 2023 is your year to actually do a CRM or not, it's time to start getting that in order. So working with the front of the house to make sure the data is being captured correctly, making sure your website's set up properly to capture data, email signups, things like that. Just making sure that's in order. And then the third thing, which I thought was really interesting. So today, actually, somebody sent me, Salesforce had their earnings report at the end for Q3. And one of the things was that they're hearing that everybody's trying to reduce costs going into next year. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, but it's real. And so like, instead of only thinking about like, what can we like slash out of our budget, kind of going back to this OTA thing, what if you could reduce the acquisition cost of your guests? What if you could actually reduce the cost of acquiring guests? And I think you might have to put up a little money to do it, but there's a lot of solutions out there that are helping drive direct bookings. So put up a little money to do that. And really at the end of the day, you can reduce some of these OTA costs by being a little bit, I wouldn't say risky because it's not risky, but by just having the guts to actually step up and make some tech investments before the end of the year, you know?
I love that. That was really good. Really like, well, you can't see my thumbs up, but like, you can't hear them. But
Nadine is doing a thumbs up.
yeah, no,
Thanks.
I really enjoyed that. I mean, it did ruin my world a little bit that Nike is not giving me 10% out of the kindness of their hearts.
Yeah.
Because email marketing works.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
why I subscribe to so many newsletters.
We've all done it, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you go on there.
Yeah.
No, but I think also one point that I just wanted to reiterate, just because you don't like emails doesn't mean that other people don't.
Oh, no.
I mean, I think it's something we often fall back as humans, just a natural kind of thing that you make a generalization out of what your personal preference is.
Yeah.
So I think it's just good to also highlight that again, that don't do that.
Yeah. Just because you like TikTok dancing
Yeah.
doesn't mean that that's going to drive bookings for your hotel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
We just released our Basics of Email Marketing guide, which shares the basics of email marketing. It is a really good guide, especially actually for anyone. I was going to say that anybody who's getting started with email marketing, it's like the foundation of what you need to do to get your strategy in place. But I think it would be a beneficial piece of content for anybody, even if you're an expert already. I'm sure there'll be things anybody can learn from there.
Awesome. I also just have to say, Revinate content is really great objectively. Like, this is not just me saying this because I'm sitting in this room with 2 people from Revinate, but we will also link it in the show notes so that it's easy for you to find.
And are we going to talk about how we partner together and it's how this is more than just a podcast that we're doing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, very exciting. Hotel Champ will be offering free email capture for all Revinate customers.
Oh.
Which is very exciting. And I will also share more information for that in the show notes as well, so you can go and check that out. But yeah, it's very exciting stuff.
I think so.
Yeah.
Was this a surprise for you?
Yeah, no, this is awesome.
If you use a Hotel Champ email capture, you can now sync that directly with your Revinate CRM, which is amazing because what that means is you can instantly have the emails that you are collecting on your website with Hotel Champ technology go straight into your email CRM with Revinate, so you can start that communication process with that guest right away.
And also, to even elaborate on that, Revinate takes PMS data and any lists that we're pulling in from outside get merged if the email addresses are corresponding. So if we're capturing an email address on the website, it will show up and append to a current profile. So you'll see anybody that signed up through the Hotel Champ forms and then also stay history that they previously had.
Wow.
So that's one thing.
That's
and then
amazing.
we also do drip campaigns. So meaning like somebody comes up, signs up through Hotel Champ form, we can actually start triggering emails to them immediately and drip them into doing a direct booking. I'm just enhancing your stuff. Yeah, no. You're in.
I'm in.
Yeah, you're in.
Yeah, and thank you very much for being with us today, or for us being with you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Podcast with us. It was really awesome, and I think that we can let you off the hook for not having a hotel background because I think that you really shared some great insights.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. Appreciate it. Hopefully the audience feels the same way.
Yeah. Also, I don't have a hotel background, so I'm just over here. Awesome. So thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you everyone at home for listening. And please share your thoughts with us if you think there's anything else that we've missed, or if you have any questions about any of the topics that we've covered, please get in touch with us at welcome@hotelchamp.com, and make sure to follow Hotel Champ on all of your favorite social media channels. Stay tuned for more episodes in the future. Take care of yourself. Have a great day, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah.